Okay, hey everyone. We'll just give it 1 minute here. Just let a few more people jump in, but we'll get going in 1 sec. So hang tight. All right. Okay, well, hey everyone. Welcome on this sunny Thursday to our BC Emergency Health Services Recruitment Information Session. Thanks again for jumping in and joining us. We're all very excited to share some different pathways that you can take to join our dedicated team of emergency care professionals. So, my name's Chris, and myself and my colleagues, Oceana, Moses, Patrick, and Riley will be your presenters today. And we're all part of the talent acquisition team here with BCEHS. There's some other team members as well we have here that are going to be helping answer your questions throughout the program. And of course, as we start, we would love to acknowledge with respect and gratitude that we're coming together today on a number of ancestral and unceded territories. BC Emergency Health Services recognizes and respects the Indigenous peoples as the original peoples of these lands. And so we encourage all of you just to take a moment to reflect, acknowledge, and honor the original occupants of the lands that you live, work, and play on. And we would also love to just share our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion as an employer. PHSA and BCEHS are committed to employment equity, and we encourage all qualified individuals to apply to our positions. We recognize that our ability to provide the best care for our diverse patient populations relies on a rich diversity of skills, knowledge, background, and experience. And we very much value a safe, inclusive, and welcoming environment for everyone. So if you do require any accommodations during the application process, just reach out to our team at careers@bcehs.ca. And now the game plan for today, the agenda. The session will be about an hour in length, and we'll be providing information on what BC Emergency Health Services does, why you should join us, info on our Riding Third program, and we'll be sharing lots on the various career pathways that are available. We'll also be touching on the application process for the different roles and other steps that you can really take to start your career with us. So this information sharing portion will take about 30 minutes in length, which will leave us with 30 minutes at the end for a time of Q&A. Always the highlight of of these sessions, the Q&A time. So you'll have a chance to raise your virtual hand and ask your questions. We'll also be opening the chat function at the end as well. If you're more comfortable typing out your questions and submitting it that way, we have people who can be answering you via chat as well. But again, at the end is going to be the time for Q&A. You can just raise your virtual hand and we'll be answering the questions. Um, Throughout the presentation as well, we'll be using polls. And this is to help us understand you better so that we can provide relevant information to you and gather your valuable feedback. And of course, the answers that we'll be sharing for these polls are anonymous, as we'll be sharing the results after each one. And for our viewers using mobile devices, I'm sure many of you are actually on a mobile device today. To do that, you would go to the chat tab in order to see the polls. So once again, if you are on a mobile device, go to the chat tab and there you will see the polls there. And so with that being said, we do have our very first poll here for you now. And we'll give it a sec there. It should be there. Again, if you're on a mobile device, just go to the chat portion and you'll see the poll there. Give it a sec as the answers will come in. Right. Great. Great. So moving on here. To start, we would love to situate you in terms of our organizational structure. So BCEHS is an agency under PHSA, Provincial Health Services Authority, which also operates all of the provincial agencies that are listed here. PHSA oversees the coordination and delivery of provincial programs and highly specialized healthcare services by working with the province's health authorities and the Ministry of Health with a mission to bring healthcare closer to where BC residents live. And we should also mention here that for all positions with all these agencies under PHSA, it is a requirement that individuals be fully vaccinated against COVID-19. But some more about BCEHS. So BC Emergency Health Services is responsible for out-of-hospital emergency services and interfacility patient transfers throughout BC. We were formed back in 1974, and we're currently the largest ambulance service in all of North America. We have 183 ambulance stations, 7 air bases, 5 contracted marine vessels, and over 5,000 employees, with that number growing every day. And there are many benefits to working with us here at BCEHS. To name a few, since our stations are located all throughout the province, you'll have the freedom to transfer to different regions and explore beautiful BC. Also, you'll be working with a collaborative team environment alongside your colleagues in various roles in patient care, dispatch, and other first responders. For some benefits, we provide comprehensive benefits packages for full-time employees, which would include health, dental coverage, a pension plan, and more. The benefits for the casual employees would differ, of course, but also working with us will allow you to directly serve your community, providing that vital service to BC residents. We also do provide job stability and will support your career growth through various ways of employer paid training and continuing education opportunities. So we'll have some more information on paid training and what that looks like a little later in our program. And so to give you a glimpse of what it's like to work with us, we've got a short video that we'll show you here now.
All right. Thank you, Chris. That was a great video, and it really is a glimpse into what we do every day at BCEHS. If you're interested in experiencing firsthand what a brief day in the life might look like, we recommend checking out our second and third program. We're going to put a quick poll up in a second here to see who has heard of this program. So if you could respond to that poll, that would be great. Give it a few more seconds here. Okay, so if we have some results now, it looks like some of you have heard of this program. So the second and third program was recently launched to allow individuals who are interested in experiencing what paramedicine is all about to experience that. Non-BCEHS and PHSA employees can participate in this second and third program, where you can ride along on an observation-only shift with a great patient care crew, allowing you to gain a much better understanding of the role of a paramedic. You'll be able to ride along for 2 shifts, meeting experienced paramedic ambassadors, learning more about BCEHS in general, and taking your passion to the next level. If you're interested in participating in this program, please scan the QR code on your screen or email second and third at bcehs.ca, mentioning that you heard about this from our information session, and a member of their team will reach out to you. Next, we're going to discuss the patient care career pathway and put up another poll to see which career pathway you might be the most interested in. So we're going to have that up in a few seconds here. We'll give it a little bit more time. Okay, all right. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for participating. Now it's time to take a bit of a deeper dive into some of the career paths that you can take at BCEHS, starting as a casual employee. This is just an overview, and we will touch on each of these later on in our presentation. First, we have what's called the patient care career pathway, which is where a lot of applicants start off. These are the frontline workers out in the different areas of BC where you can start off as a driver, as an emergency medical responder, or as a primary care paramedic. We also have positions for full-time advanced care paramedics. And there are also different leadership positions that one can get into, such as being a unit chief at a station or an area manager later on in your career. So we'll move on to the next slides now, where Oceana will cover the different requirements based on whichever position you are thinking about applying for. Oceana?
Thanks, Patrick. So starting with our driver-only requirements, we require a CPRC AED certificate or equivalent, and this course must include adult, child, and infant first aid, as well as two-person CPR and AED. We also require a class 1, 2, or 4 driver's license for this position. And please note, whenever you're seeing a class 4 driver's license requirement throughout the presentation today, either class 4 restricted or non-restricted are both acceptable and fine. And on the screen, you'll see examples of CPRC training providers. And over the next few slides, you'll see examples of other training providers as well for different license levels. However, please note that BCEHS is not affiliated with and does not have preference for which schools candidates complete courses at. So we recommend you do a Google search in your area and see what works best for you and your schedule that way. Next, we will cover our emergency medical responder or EMR requirements. And for this position, we require an emergency medical responder or EMR license issued by the Emergency Medical Assistance Licensing Board, as well as a class 1, 2, or 4 driver's license. For this position, if you don't currently have a class 4 driver's license, it must be obtained within 6 months of your hire date, so that's something to note for this role. Next, touching on our primary care paramedic or PCP requirements, we require a primary care paramedic license issued by the Emergency Medical Assistance Licensing Board, as well as a Class 1, 2, or 4 driver's license. And again, if you don't currently have this driver's licensing requirement, it must be obtained within 6 months of your hire date. Next, we will discuss our Advanced Care Paramedic or ACP requirements, where we require an Advanced Care Paramedic license issued by the Emergency Medical Assistance Licensing Board, as well as a Class 1, 2, or 4 driver's license. And similar to the EMR and PCP positions, if you don't currently have the Class 4 requirement, it must be obtained within 6 months of your hire date. And now I will touch briefly on our ACP locations and schedules. So our ACP locations are found on the screen here. They are in Kamloops, Kelowna, Nanaimo, Prince George, Vancouver Core, and the Lower Mainland area, and Victoria. And as of right now, all advanced care paramedic positions are full-time, so we currently do not have any casual or regular part-time positions available at the advanced care paramedic level. Next, I'm going to pass it to Riley, and she is going to discuss our paid training.
Thank you, Oceana. As Chris mentioned earlier, BCEHS offers employer-paid training and continuing education opportunities. For successful driver-only applicants, we provide EMR training and licensing support to obtain your EMR license. We also pay for the scope of practice expansion training for internal EMRs. Emergency Health Services also offers paid PCP training for internal EMRs that apply to and are awarded a full-time PCP position. Similarly, if an ACP posting cannot be filled with qualified internal or external applicants, paid PCP training will be provided to internal PCP applicants. BCEHS does not offer these trainings in-house, but through third parties that are appropriate to your location. We would also like to note that at this time, we're unable to reimburse or compensate for any licensing costs that were incurred prior to your hire. So how can you initiate the process with us if you already have the necessary licenses and are interested in starting a career with BCEHS? First, please apply by submitting an application. You can apply directly to the casual on-call driver, EMR, or PCP posting on our career website at bcehs.ca/careers, or submit your application along with supporting documents to careers@bcehs.ca. Please note that we do have an ongoing demand for casual on-call PCP, EMR, and driver positions in multiple locations within BC. Once we receive your application, it will be assigned to a talent acquisition representative for pre-screening and assistance throughout the application process. If you are deemed eligible, you'll be invited to a virtual interview. Once you pass the interview, we will conduct a reference check and provide instructions for a criminal record check. You are required to have 2 professional references on file along with a cleared criminal record check in order to move forward. You will also be required to complete a fitness assessment. This will ensure you can meet the physical demands of the job and are deemed fit to work. The assessment includes a 5-minute CPR simulation and pushing, pulling, and lifting of varying weights. This is a condition of your employment. Station placement is the next step where we will find a home station that you will be working at for a minimum of 6 months from your start date. Station placement is based on license level, meaning that in general, the higher license level you have, the better chance at being placed in a station of your choice. Once all are completed and you pass all assessments in our recruitment process, an offer letter will be issued to you and we welcome you to BCEHS. Before starting employment, you are required to complete a new employee orientation, which has 2 portions. Both are paid for at your license wage. 1 week of a self-led online pre-reading that can be completed in your own time and space, and 2 weeks of in-class orientation that take place in our Vancouver office. Travel and accommodation is covered as needed. Once you successfully complete the new employee orientation and driving days, you can be deployed to the station and start your adventure with us. As we mentioned earlier, casual is a great way to get started with BCEHS, and a majority of our employees start on a casual basis. As a casual hire, you are scheduled based on existing vacancies in the current station's scheduling, and your monthly number of shifts can vary. Availability is submitted monthly to your unit chief through our online scheduling platform. Most shifts are 12 hours in length, however, shift times are dependent on the station you're assigned to. You are required to provide an availability of 8 shifts per month to maintain seniority, and you must work a minimum of 3 shifts within 3 months to maintain your employment. If you're interested in full-time or part-time opportunities with us, please visit our careers page as we post opportunities on a regular basis. I'll now pass it on to Moses, who works on our dispatching recruitment team.
Thanks, Riley. So over in dispatch operations, you will be our first point of contact for callers who have been routed to one of our 3 separate but integrated centers. And who routes these calls to us? That's 911 ECOM. And they're the call takers who are the very first point of contact for a 911 caller. In addition to call taking, dispatch also coordinates our ground and air ambulance response all day, every day. And each day, our centers combined receive between 1,400 and 1,700 requests for an emergency response. That comes out to be more than 500,000 in a year. And while that may sound exhausting, you will have plenty of time to relax, decompress, and explore BC and beyond. After 4 days on, you get 6 days off. Dispatch also works closely with our partner agencies such as police, fire, search and rescue, and the Coast Guard to ensure that all people living in BC have access to timely and effective care. There are several roles in dispatch, and we'll be talking about 4 of them today. First up are the emergency medical call takers. As our first point of contact with a caller, you will be working directly with incoming medical emergency calls routed to us from ECOM. With a calming presence, you will assess the caller's needs and provide medical assistance over the phone. At the same time, you're relaying all relevant information you've learned from the caller to the emergency medical dispatchers. Our EMDs then coordinate the ground response by sending the appropriate resource. Did you know that there's several types of ambulances, and each are specialized to respond to different situations? Our interfacility EMCTs work with medical facilities to coordinate interfacility transfers. They also deploy the ambulance transfer fleet that transport the patients between the facilities. And our patient transport communication center crew are responsible for coordinating air support. A little side note for you aspiring paramedics who are also interested in dispatch. If you are successful in your application to dispatch, you are committed for 3 years. You will be unable to apply to full-time paramedic positions during this time. However, if you already have the necessary qualifications, you can pick up on-call shifts during your spare time. So how do you get started? Depending on your credentials, there are 2 entryways available to you. That's EMCT and IEMCT. The barrier to entry is not very hard to pass, and we provide the training for you to become a successful EMCT. And you get paid during the training. That being said, we are looking for, at minimum, high school graduates or equivalent with 2 years of customer service experience. Standard first aid and CPR level C are not required to apply, but it is a requirement for employment. And the interfacility counterparts have the same requirements, plus you will need a medical office assistant certificate, or with 1 year of EMCT experience, you can also apply. So lastly, I'll give you a brief overview of our application process, and there are a lot of similarities to applying to our paramedic positions, including the same website, bcehs.ca/careers. And once you have met the requirements and have applied on our website, a member of our team will review your application. Applicants who pass the initial review will be invited by email to complete an online skills assessment. Once you have successfully completed the online skills assessment, you will then be invited to plug in with one of our EMCTs. And for 6 hours, you will get to experience what it means to be an EMCT. After that, you'll be invited to a virtual interview. Reference checks will be conducted on all applicants who are successful in their interview. The selected candidates will then be required to complete a criminal record check, medical assessment, and hearing test. Once you've cleared all the checks, you may receive an offer of employment. And for the first 6 weeks of employment, you'll be attending classes to learn the processes and systems our EMCTs use. After the 6-week in-class training, it's time to put those skills into practice on the call floor. You will have a safety net for the first few months as you'll be paired with a preceptor. And once that is all completed, you will obtain an MDPS certificate and start your dispatch journey with us. And now over to Patrick.
Okay, thank you, Moses, for sharing more about our dispatch career pathway and the application process for it. So now that we've shared a brief summary about our patient care and dispatch pathways, we will be putting up another poll in 1 second here. Okay, so we'll just wait a few more seconds for more results. Okay, thank you for participating. You should see the poll results up now. So on this slide, on the screen right now, you will see a QR code which can lead you to our available postings that we currently have up on our careers website. You can also sign up for our newsletter at joinus.bcehs.ca to receive the most current updates regarding BCEHS recruitment and to not miss any new postings. We also encourage you to visit bcehs.ca/careers to learn more about us and the different career paths that we provide. And so to end off our presentation, we will put up our last poll right now. So I'd encourage you to please take a moment to respond to it. A few more seconds. Okay, so thank you for submitting your responses and for joining us in today's information session. We will now open the chat function if you feel more comfortable submitting your questions over text, or you can send your questions to careers@bcehs.ca, and a member of our team will gladly assist you.